Hello, and welcome back to Language Culture and Dr. Lou. Today I have some more funny sayings from around the world, and they're funny because they're idioms. And by definition, idioms do not translate directly. And so there comes the fun. We're going to translate them directly into English and see how funny they sound. And so, by the way, just wanted to mention that we're not laughing at any other cultures here. Every single language has idioms, and they're funny expressions because they don't mean what the words look like they would literally mean. So there's always a metaphor and things like that. So it's always fun to come and translate them between one language and another. So I'll give you the direct translation for each one of these, and I will tell you what it really means as well. And so we're going to cover expressions from lots of languages around the world, and starting in Scandinavia with Swedish. And so Swedish has this expression that's quite the threat. If you say to somebody, now your fishes will be warmed, um, that reminds me kind of watching like a mob movie and they're talking about, oh, now you're going to be sleeping with the fishes. That's a threat on their life. And so in this one in Swedish, if someone tells you that now your fishes will be warmed, it just means you're in big trouble. And so that's pretty funny. Warmed fish equals dead fish, and so you're in trouble. And we have a similar expression to this in English, and that's why I have well, not with fish, with a different animal, and that's why I have a picture of see the cooked bird here, not a chicken, not a turkey. That's a goose. It's kind of like in English when we say, oh, your goose is cooked, right? In Swedish, we can say, now your fishes will be warmed. Very funny kind of way to put it, but no no less weird than we do in English when we say your goose is cooked or someone's goose is cooked. We're saying they're in a lot of trouble. Now their fishes will be warmed. Equally hilarious. And so Swedish and English are both not lacking in the threat department. Like in English, we can say your goose is cooked, or your dead meat, or even your toast, right? Whereas in Swedish, in addition to saying now your fishes will be warm, we can say now you planted your last potato. Now you have planted your last potato. That to me is really funny. Again, reminds me of some sort of a line you might see in a mob movie where people are threatening each other because it's of course, yeah, very threatening. And the funny part about it is this is not just a threat for a potato farmer. It goes for anybody. And so, yeah, now you planted your last potato, or now your fishes will be warmed. Both kind of mean, oh, you're in a lot of trouble. You're in big trouble, buddy, pretty much. And so that's kind of funny. I don't think of the Swedes as a particularly threatening culture or anything, but I guess language is language, and you have to have a way to express everything. And so, why not threats? And so now staying in Scandinavia, but moving to a different country, different language, we have an expression from Norwegian that literally translates as to speak directly from the liver. And this is pretty funny. The thoughts of internal organs actually speaking. And this saying to speak directly from the liver, what it means is to be very direct about something when you're talking. Like you speak directly about something, give the facts, and do not sugarcoat it at all. No whitewashing, no sugarcoating, just being very frank about it. being very direct about it. That is to speak directly from the liver. And where does the expression come from? In olden times, long, long ago, it was thought that the liver was a magical organ of sorts. And why magical? Because the liver would be what produced courage. That would be what gave people courage, their liver anyway. And so that's where this expression comes from, I guess, to say things forthright and very frankly. That can sometimes take some guts, take some courage. So that's an interesting expression. And to me, yeah, it seems funny that anyone would be speaking directly from the liver. Um, and I don't think that yeah, I don't think that before learning this expression, I even knew that the liver used to be thought to produce courage. And so that is kind of interesting too. So now let's move out of Scandinavia and go on to somewhere else, shall we? With another funny saying and Icelandic. So now we're in the Atlantic Ocean, in Iceland, and they have this expression which means well, it translates directly as to lay your head in water. Now, what this means is very funny to me. The funny part about it is that um, what to lay your head in water means is in Icelandic is um, instead of in English, we don't say I'm going to lay my head in water if we need time to think on something. We say I need to sleep on it, or I'm going to put my thinking cap on, things like that. Whereas in Icelandic, it's oh, I'm going to lay my head in water. Uh, so this part is really funny because I can't imagine getting mental clarity from putting my head underwater anyhow, right? We have almost the opposite expression going on in English to keep your head above water, to survive and all that, to stay, keep on going. But no, in Icelandic, to lay your head in water is simply to really, really think about something, to take the time to really, really think seriously about something. So that's kind of like putting your thinking cap on in English or telling someone you will sleep on it, which we're not literally talking about a thinking cap or a sleeping, but about taking the time to really reflect on something and think about it. And to me, again, if my head is underwater, I'm not thinking it's about some external problem. I'm thinking about, oh, try not to breathe so you don't suck in any water. And I'm also thinking about how do I get my head back into the air so I can breathe again, right? So that's why I find this expression very funny. And so now moving on to elsewhere, what other funny sayings do we have? Well, we have one from Arabic, which is, of course, spoken throughout the Middle East and many parts of Africa, especially. And there's an expression in Arabic which I really like because I like idioms. I really like idioms that use metaphors with animals. There's a lot of animal wisdom out there in different cultures. And what's funny, the fact that so many languages have idiomatic expressions and proverbs and maxims about animals tells me that this is one common thing with human cultures is that we live with animals surrounding us, sometimes to do our work, sometimes to be pets, for love and all that, sometimes to eat and all that. But animals are a common thread in a lot of expressions. And in Arabic, the expression translates literally to Repetition teaches the donkey, which I love this one because what it means is practice makes perfect, right? And so I love this one because it's very different than the English expression stubborn as a mule, right? Which implies that mules, they won't learn anything, they won't do anything, they're stubborn, which I debunked in a different video of mine. But anyway, whereas this one gives credits to donkeys for being able to learn, right? So I do. I love that. I'm an animal lover from way back, of all kinds of them. So I really do like that we're giving the donkeys credit for learning here in Arabic. And we're talking about practice makes perfect. So repeat, 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 and you will do it better. Same goes for donkeys, apparently, in Arabic. So now moving on from Africa or the Middle East, now moving on to the Far East, there's an expression from China. It was this, I believe, is an expression in Mandarin, but the last word, hoo, that spelling is not correct for standard Mandarin. So I'm not sure what other Chinese language or dialect this expression exists in, but certain it's an expression in China. And so it looks like it says mama hoo hoo, but of course I don't speak Chinese, so I wouldn't know how to actually pronounce it. And what that means literally is horse, horse, tiger, tiger. And we use that expression kind of like the same way in French, where we use the expression, oh, come see, come saw. It's to say that something is just so so. It's not good, it's not terrible, but it's just meh, it's just adequate ish, passable. And the funny part of this expression to me is for one, look at those two animals. How could you possibly confuse them? And as the story goes, the story where this expression comes from, how it goes, is there was an artist, an adult who was, he was an artist, but he was so inadept at the craft. He was such a lousy artist that when that he drew a picture, and the picture that he drew, which he really liked, people couldn't tell if this was a horse or a tiger. Uh, and I mean, I understand if you're 7 years old and you draw something and no one can tell if it's a horse or a tiger. Okay, good attempt. Good for you. You'll get better. But for an adult artist, someone calling themselves an artist and nobody can tell if what they do is a horse or a tiger, that part makes the expression pretty funny to me. And so that's what it means is something is just so so. And I mentioned the expression comme ci, comme ça in French, which means about the same thing, so so. Um, One other thing these two expressions have in common, in addition to what they mean, is that native speakers don't say them anywhere near as often as foreign language learners tend to think that they would say them. So the expressions do exist. It's just not used all that often. But it's a proverb, so in China, lots of people know it. And there we go. And so let's move on from China to somewhere else. Now we're in Italy, and there's an expression in Italian that translates literally to have one's eyes lined with ham, or maybe better off to have one's eyes lined with prosciutto. Hmm. And what does that mean? Um, as you can imagine, if you had ham in front of your eyes, you cannot see anything, right? You cannot see what's right in front of you. So that's what this expression means. You can use it about someone who cannot see what is right in front of them, who cannot see what's obvious. And I'm not talking literally blind, I'm talking metaphorically blind to what's going on around them. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And one other time that's fun to use this expression in Italian is when someone is blinded by love, we can say they have their eyes lined with ham. And so there you go. So having your eyes lined with ham means you're not seeing what the heck is right in front of you. We have a similar expression in English to view life through rose-colored glasses, which means you only see what you want to see. It's not really it's not just about optimism. It's all about naivete. It's all about only seeing what you want, and that too we can often use with somebody who is blinded by love, right? So anyway, in Italian, to have your eyes lined with ham, that's to be blind to what is right in front of you. So that's why the picture of the woman with the blindfold and the eye exam, the vision test, and all that, and and there you go. So that's a pretty funny expression. It's funny to imagine, yeah, somebody with ham in front of their eyes, or imagine somebody is gonna do eyeliner and instead accidentally they grab some ham and start doing it. Anyway, it's that's an interesting expression to me. So now from Italy, we're moving around to another part of Europe, to Germany. And in German, we have this expression that says that literally translates to I understand only train station. Which this is really funny to me. In English, the expression is, oh, it's all Greek to me, meaning everything is super confusing to you. You don't understand any bit of it, right? Um, and saying I only understand train station in German to me is really funny because I picture, like, imagine a tourist arriving for the first time in Germany. They arrive um, in Berlin, and the only word they understand in the whole entire German language is train station. Everything would be so confusing, so foreign to them. So yeah, that's why I think this expression is pretty funny. And yeah, and so imagine if you get to Berlin by train, and the only word you know in German is train station. How are you going to ask, how do you get to your hotel? Right? Or how are you going to understand their answer? Anyway, so that's the expression that I only understand train station. The equals, so all Greek to me, which itself is a pretty funny expression. Now, another funny expression in German is another way to say, oh, it's not my problem. In German, we can say something that literally translates to not my beer, not my worries, right? And of course, that means not my problem. And I think that's a funny expression because, of course, uh, it's unsurprising that Germans have some expressions, some idioms related to beer, right? We all know that a lot of quality beers come from Germany, so beer is very much a part of the culture there. So why wouldn't you have expressions involving beers? And not my beer, not my worries. Yeah, that's sort of well, it's a happy thought. Like I've got no worries in the world because that's not my problem. Hmm. And when I thought of this expression, I thought it's fun and it's pretty funny, but not quite as funny as a Polish proverb, a proverb from Poland expressing about the same meaning. It's not my problem. And you might know this one already because somebody some people know this expression in English, but what we don't know is that it's a Polish proverb. It doesn't even come from English originally. So the expression goes, not my circus, not my monkeys, right? And so I don't know, I thought that one is certainly a lot funnier because what is funnier than circus monkeys, right? These handy little things. Anyway, and so not my circus, not my monkeys, that equals not my problem. I mean, it's a very funny way to put it. And so, yeah, and so that's from Polish, which I don't speak a word of Polish, so I wouldn't know how to pronounce that saying that's written up there. But what I do know is it's really funny to be talking about monkeys as they're a problem, because as we know, primates, we're kind of capricious and can cause troubles for others, and that includes monkeys, apes, and humans alike, in my opinion, anyway. So there you go. So that was all 10 of the funny expressions from around the world that I had for you today. So thank you very much for everybody who is watching this video. I always appreciate when people watch all the way to the end. So there, now you have arrived at the end. So thank you very much for that. And so please do consider giving this video a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any more of my uploads or any more instant premieres or anything like that. And so I am already working on another topic for the next video. And so I will get to that. And until then, see you around next time. Bye bye.